Are you happy?
Oh, very happy.
Why?
Why not? I'm alive, 91 years old, still feel good, have sex every night.
Guys, I spent 10 years as an occupational therapist, mainly working in nursing homes around the US. I went to school in Canada for that, and I've spent time in these types of places all around Canada. And I'm telling you, I probably don't have to tell you, you already know. Life in a nursing home is not ideal. Unfortunately, in the West, that's just the way it's set up. That's where people end up going at some point in their life. Anyways, most people do not want to end up in a nursing home. One of the motivating things for a lot of guys coming to the Philippines, especially meeting someone that's a bit younger than them, is the thought that they could have that taken care of in the Philippines. Meeting a partner that's going to be supportive and caring. You know, I take care of her, she takes care of me as I age, everyone's happy. In the Philippines, you probably already know this, but culturally, caring for each other is a natural thing. Kids take care of their parents, they take care of their grandparents. A lot of it has to do with culture. Some of it has to do with they just don't have the means, they don't have nursing homes everywhere, they don't have the structure here for that. But most of it is cultural and the nature of Filipinos. You know, working in healthcare for all those years, I met so many Filipinos working in caregiving type positions, nurses, actual caregivers. It's hard work. And I would say out of every person that I met over the years, Filipinos are standout in terms of their nature, their natural caring nature, the patience that they have. Again, back to finding a Filipino partner, it can be a match made in heaven for a guy that is thinking this way, that wants to avoid nursing homes at all costs. And that's one of the possible benefits of coming here and meeting the right kind of person. Now, some guys are not even thinking about like finding a wife and going that route. Some guys just want a caregiver. That's it. I've met a bunch of guys that are happily single and they want to hire someone. That's their job. They do the cooking, the cleaning, and when they get to a point in life where they can't do other stuff, they hire them for that as well. 100% professional. But a bunch of guys fall in between. They don't want to get married. However, they still want a little romance. They want the companionship. They want some of those things are really important, I think, to every guy on some level. But they also want that caregiver. They also want someone to cook and clean and do all that stuff. Well, that's the story I have for you today. It's about a gentleman that I met over a year ago. For the sake of his privacy, I'm just gonna call him Chester. Everything that I know from when I met him up until now and all the crazy shit that he's been through when it comes to his mission, he's one of the guys that wanted the companionship. He wanted a caregiver with benefits. He jokes about it, saying it in that way, but he's a good guy. Like he's 80, I think he's 81 years old now. Really nice guy, educated, smart. He's got money. I don't think he's rich, but he's not just living on Social Security. And so when I met the guy, he was at the beginning stages of trying to find someone that could play that role. You know, he was very open about his desire still for women and having that sort of companionship and having that romance, but 100% on a mission to find someone that can live with him in a separate room. He had a 2-bedroom place, and he wanted someone that could fill all those needs. Be a friend, be a caregiver, run the errands, cook all his meals, and have someone that he's attracted to where they have a little romance. And you know, take it for what it is. This is his mission that he was on. And a lot of guys come here with that in mind. It just seems to be the perfect kind of arrangement. Is it a dream come true type of thing? Is this even possible here? Well, yes and no. It can be a complete nightmare and it can be exactly what you're looking for, but this is what can go wrong. So again, when I met him, he was looking for someone. He was interviewing people, meeting them online on like dating sites, having that little bit of conversation early on, being very upfront about what he was looking for, and then eventually meeting them and seeing if it was a good fit. Well, this first round of interviews didn't last very long. He met someone in her 20s that was very attractive, met her, she seemed sweet. He was head over heels for her right away with how attractive she was, but was very upfront about all the things that he needed and talking about the money, talking about everything up front, and she was all in. She was like saying all the right things, this is great. The problem is, instead of letting some time pass to really get to know more about her, know about the family, get a read on the situation beyond, you know, being attractive and her saying all these right things right out of the gates. He didn't do any of that. He moved her in relatively quickly, guys. She moved in, she was staying in his spare bedroom. Use your imagination, guys, on how everything played out with that routine. But here's the thing, the trust came right away. Some of the errands that he needed was doing some banking for him. I know, it's one of those, well, of course moments, right? Trusting someone with your banking information. However, that's what happened. She went to get money out of the bank for him and to run some other errands, comes back home with the things that he needed and the cash that he needed, and everything seemed fine. Thinking back, the thoughts going through her head were probably laying in bed at night going, holy shit, I just got money out, money that I haven't touched and held like ever in my life. That was easy. I have all the information. Well, the very next day when he was sleeping and resting, she took everything from his apartment that she could grab in one go, his phone, his tablet, laptop, a bunch of stuff, and went straight to the bank and took out about 150,000 pesos. A bunch of money, right? A big chunk of money, a few $1,000, which for her was probably life-changing. And so when he wakes up and sees that everything is gone, of course he's freaking out, right? Doesn't even have the phone to call anyone to see what the heck's going on. That's when I ran into him. He was at the JRC in Dumaguete trying to talk to someone there to make some calls and to reach out to some of his contacts because he lost everything. He was unable to track her down. He didn't have all the information about her family. None of that was worked out in this deal. It was a one-on-one type of deal with her, and she's gone. In the end, he had to end up flying back to the US to work out a bunch of banking stuff, to get cards and a bunch of stuff that he lost, to get a new phone, spend a little time with his family sorting things out. Huge ordeal for an 81-year-old, and a bunch more money on top of what she already took to go back there. And so he has since worked it all out. He shook it off. This kind of thing happens way more often than you probably think. Now, maybe not to the extent of having all the banking information, but definitely common when it comes to having access to your place, stealing things, stuff like that happens all the time. So it goes without saying to do your due diligence and make sure this is a person that you know very well, that it's a friend of a friend, that you know the family. This kind of thing makes all the difference for sure. Well, he has since come back to the Philippines, and I just caught up with him and got an update about what he has been up to over the last several months. So this happened well over a year ago, and he's had quite a bit of time to sort through what happened and to come up with a new plan. He didn't give up on this mission, guys, by the way. He went back on the dating sites to meet Filipinas with this plan in mind, with finding someone to be an all-in-one. A caregiver with benefits is how he jokes about it. But a friend, a person he can trust, a person that can help him with all of these things, and have a little romance and fun along the way. I think for a lot of guys, I can think of a lot of guys that I met during my days in nursing homes, and if I told them, what if you could have a setup like this rather than hanging out here in a nursing home? What if you could have a nurse, a Filipina nurse to be a live-in to take care of all this for you and have a little bit of romance? You know how many guys? I think like over half the guys that are in nursing homes are flirting with the nurses. They're flirting with the caregivers. So back to my friend Chester. He interviewed a whole bunch of people, and he eventually found a nursing student. This is the arrangement that he's had for the last while that he says is going amazing. He met with a bunch of people that he was hopeful for, and he was super, super strict with red flags. He was pivoting one after the other with the littlest thing that just seemed a little bit off or inconsistent, or if they weren't willing to, have their family do video calls with him. He wanted to do everything. He wanted to meet the siblings. He wanted to meet the parents, everything to feel good about it and just know everything about her. Well, he eventually met a nursing student in her final year of being a nursing student who he met, who was sweet, who gave all the information, her passport. They'd done video calls. They met in person, met the family. You name it, all of it, and she was 100% on board. Now, of course, money is a motivator, right? Having the security, having the work, having that. A lot of Filipinas do live-in type stuff. Very common here to be a live-in caregiver. a lot of live-in caregivers that do this kind of thing, it could be like nanny work, plus cleaning, plus cooking, everything. It's like a full-time thing every day of the week. And they only get like a little bit of time off. A lot of them make like 8,000 pesos a month to do this. And it includes food, room and board, everything like that. Some of them make a little bit more, maybe 10K, maybe like high end would be like 12K a month. It's not a lot of money to do this kind of thing. But the way that he has it arranged is he looked at how much nurses make and what they would make working in clinics and hospitals. And he is giving her that, plus he's giving her the room and board, the free place to stay, free food, plus a nurse's wage. So she's able to make that money before she even graduates. And if it all works out, it'll continue on after she graduates. So she's making better money than grinding it out in a hospital. And she said they get along great, they're friends, they joke around. So anyways, this isn't to say that what's right or wrong. This isn't to say anything, but this is a thing here. This is a possibility here. It's a possibility that comes with huge risk though, with definitely pitfalls that he fell into early on. And you know, it's only been a few months and it's working out great right now. Where this ends up, you know, who knows? But he's basically saying, man, everything seems perfect. I will say this. There are really good Filipinas. There's really shady Filipinas, just like everywhere in the world. Once you get to know someone and you see the consistency and you get to know the kind of family that they come from and you get to know all of these things, you really start to build a picture of what someone's all about, their character, their integrity. There's just so many signs. It's the same thing with meeting a partner, right? So his approach to meeting a caregiver live-in with benefits, it's the same approach for you to meet a girlfriend, for a wife, for any of that kind of stuff. You still take the same time consideration of getting to know someone, you know, pivoting on red flags, not ignoring things. And when you have an attractive younger Filipina, like he had at the beginning when he fell into that huge trap of her, you know, scamming the heck out of him, you're not thinking straight. You're definitely caught up in the physical, in the appearance, and that kind of thing. Okay, let me finish with this. Let me address the age gap and what this really is. This is a transactional thing. This is a caregiver with benefits. It's not to say that there's no respect. It's not to say that there's not kindness. It's not to say that they don't actually get along and they're having, you know, a good time taking care of each other in multiple ways. As far as it being right or wrong, who am I to say? I know you guys are going to have your opinions. I know right now a bunch of people that clicked on this video are thinking this is wrong, this is gross, this guy's a pervert. I know the comments are going to come in. I think a lot of people might be able to see this as, why not? She's 24 years old, she's an adult, she has the choice, she doesn't have to do it. How this pans out and how often this can even be a thing and turn into a really good type of arrangement, I don't know. I would say it's something you have to be way more careful with, trying to set something like this up. A caregiver with benefit it's a roll the dice kind of a thing. I know other guys here that are in their 70s and they have girlfriends, not in so much of a caregiving type of thing, but I interviewed my friend Bob. I'll put the interview in the description. It's a great interview. He's in his 70s. He has a Filipina girlfriend, live-in, also in her 20s. I think she's like late 20s. And it's a full open conversation that he wants the romance, he wants a girlfriend, someone to enjoy life with, enjoy time with, but he's very realistic about his age and that he is going to need someone to help him more and more. Currently, she helps with all the household stuff, and eventually he's going to need someone to help him with more than that, right? With his personal care and all that type of stuff. And she was a nurse in Mindanao. And I met them, I spent time with them, and it's a chill couple. It's a happy couple. Watch the interview and you decide what you think. Huge age gap, yes, but you be the judge. He's very respectful, takes care of her. You know, she gets her stability in life. She gets everything that she needs, plus love, plus respect. All those things are part of the package. And I think that's the only way this kind of thing can work. So This is a unique thing, guys. This doesn't happen everywhere. This would never happen in the West. It's nursing home time, baby. When you get to that stage, that's it. If you're ever considering something like this, if you've thought of wanting this kind of an arrangement, having a girlfriend that can eventually be a caregiver, or if you wanted to be more like Chester and have a little bit more emphasis on the caregiving and then having the romance secondary, you know, whatever you decide is best for you guys, it has to be carefully done. There has to be respect. There has to be, you know, it has to be win-win. You have to be so careful with who you're doing that with. It can be a nightmare very quickly. Utilize your friends, utilize your peers, check in with them. Don't just do this on your own. This is kind of what he did too. He did this on his own, and it was just him and her. They made the deal, and it was all like, no one really knew fully what was happening. And same goes for if you just want her to be your girlfriend, or if you want to marry someone. Have her meet your friends, take your time, meet her family, do all of that kind of stuff before you open up, especially if you open up your doors literally to someone moving in with you, whether it be caregiver with benefits, whether it be a girlfriend moving in with you. Same thing, guys. You got to be careful. But at the end of the day, all I can think of is those freaking nursing homes that I worked at. And as much as we did, I think, some great stuff in the therapy room, in the rehab room to work with these people and have a good time and have them be happy, it wasn't the most ideal situation. And a lot of these nursing homes are freaking, just the atmosphere is not good. It's one of the main reasons that I got out of it, right? Just the burnout and just being around that kind of environment can be pretty tough. And I think of a lot of the guys that were living there or in and out of rehab, right? A lot of it, they're in and out of rehab as they're getting older, more injuries and illnesses, and they're getting to that point where we're planning what is their future. You know, a lot of guys that are thinking the Philippines, you're in your 60s and you're not there yet. You got lots of life ahead of you, but you're very realistic too, that if you're wanting to meet someone or set yourself up with a life here, that is kind of part of what you're thinking, right? With meeting someone and what your plans are. With the cost of living here, you can kind of get that set up, right? You can hire people to help you out. You can create a setup here for yourself that works very well for later stages in life. All right, guys, we'll leave it at that. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. More videos to come. Stay tuned. Take care.